Hello and good morning. It's Phil and Heather, and we are here today at the Chickamauga Battlefield in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And we haven't been here since September of 2019. It's late October 2020, and we thought we'd come back and look around. And this is Heather's first time doing photography here. Last time it was just me. So we found a spot here on the side of Lafayette Road that has some trees along the side of the road, and there's a field across the road. My idea is to walk way back in that field and make some shots. We are both wearing our boots this morning so we can get in that wet grass, and so let's get started working on some compositions. Okay, so we're on the other side of the road now. We went way down in that field, and I could never get these trees to where the bottom of the foliage was above the tree line over there, so the composition wasn't good, so that was a fail. And I went into those woods over there just a little bit and made a couple of photos. This is the only photograph from those woods that I was happy with, and I'm really happy with it. I love the way the old dead tree is kind of the subject in the foreground, and then the beautiful colors of all the trees in the background. Look at this craziness that we walked up on. These mushrooms are awesome. So, you know, the 50 to 250 is a pretty good flower lens, and turns out it's a pretty good mushroom lens too. So, I'm taking a couple of shots of those. Well, here is the mushroom photograph. You know, we had no intention of making mushroom photographs, but that's what we came out with, and I think these look kind of cool. Okay, so I like this bend in the road with the forest around it. And I've been trying to get light trails, but it's too bright outside. Everybody's still running their headlights, but I can only get my exposure up to about 2 seconds, and it's such a long road, I need a much longer exposure. So I put a 10-stop on, a 10-stop neutral density filter, and I'm shooting a 1-minute shot, and that should give me some light trails. We shall see, because the exposure's almost done. 3, 2, 1, done. So this photograph is kind of different. 200 millimeter light trail shot during basically almost the day, barely dark enough to have cars have their headlights on, with a 10-stop neutral density filter and a 1-minute exposure. Pretty cool. Okay, so Heather wanted to come down the field a little ways and see these cannons. You know, the Chickamauga Battlefield is the Chickamauga Battlefield. It's where the Battle of Chickamauga was fought, quite a bit of it, and during the American Civil War. And they've got all these cannons. There's not just here at this one spot, but there's cannons all over the place from the American Civil War. These are Union cannons. Looks like they're from Ohio that we've been photographing. And also, while we were here making photos of these cannons, in this field there's this crazy looking fruit from a tree. It looks like a brain. I can't remember the name of the tree. I looked it up on the Google later, but now it has slipped my mind, but I'm sure I'll be able to tell you later. And I made one photograph with the 50 to 250 of these. So Heather and I are down here shooting cannons with Fuji and Nikon. Okay, so here is some Canon photography for you. I kind of struggled with it a little bit, to be honest with you, but I ended up eventually getting some that I liked. And this is the same shot that you just saw in color. I think I probably like the black and white version better. And here are a couple of the cannons with the old cabin in the background. I thought that looked kind of cool, if not perfect, at least not too horribly bad. And you know, our whole goal with going there was fall color. So here is a cannon with some fall color in the background, compressed with the 200 millimeter lens. And here is, you really don't want to be standing right here when the cannon goes off. And then here's Heather's photograph. She got the color in the background and the cabin in the background, so I thought that turned out really nice. After we left the area where the cannons were, I stumbled over into the woods for just a few minutes, and I ran across this tree, this fallen tree down here, and check a look at this. Look at all these little thingamabobs growing on it. So I think these are called puffballs as opposed to being called mushrooms. You know, they're both fungus, but a mushroom is a mushroom, and this is a puffball. I thought they looked kind of neat. Okay, so Heather and I have moved to a different location now. We're still at Chickamauga Battlefield, and last time we came here I made a photograph of this spot behind me with its banked and curvy road. I used the Z6 and the 70-200. Today I'm using the 55-200 on the X-T3, and I'm racked out all the way to 200 millimeters, which I don't think I fully zoomed when I did this shot last time. Maybe I did. It's been well over a year. But anyways, pretty cool shot, and I got one, my shutter speed's like 1/8 of a second, and I got one with a cyclist going down the road, so he's blurred, and it's pretty cool. Speaking of cyclists, there goes some. The entire reason we went to the Chickamauga Battlefield on this day was to make a photograph of this road. I made a photograph of this road one time before, and there was no fall color, and we were really hoping that there was going to be fall color exploding on both sides of the road, and it turns out that that's not the way it was. But I still like this photo, and I love making photographs of this road as the curves bank back and forth. Okay, so Heather and I are here and we're going to take a look at our batteries. Currently my battery on the X-T3 is red and is going to die any second. And now admittedly I've been shooting a little bit more than Heather, but she's been shooting quite a bit and her battery is still showing all the way full. So there is a comparison of the X-T3 versus the Z50 battery, and we think that Fuji fixed the battery problem in the X-T4. We walked around on this trail that's near the curvy road that I like to photograph here. And you know, we're actually here today in late October to try to take advantage of fall color, but we're a little bit early. We probably should have gone up in the mountains instead of down here in the valley. So, but here on this trail, Heather and I made some photographs of various trees and leaves on the ground and just trying to be creative with our cameras here at the Chickamauga Battlefield. Here's Heather's photograph of several trees. The subject tree in the foreground has some interesting moss growing on it, and Heather loves to photograph moss. Here is a vine. I thought it was interesting the way some of the leaves were green and some were yellow and brown. This could be a muscadine vine. And here's Heather's photograph of, I think this is some turkey tail mushrooms. And pretty cool shot, and if you look close there's a millipede in this shot. And here's my photograph. I believe this could be a very young eastern redbud tree growing in the woods there at the battlefield. Okay, I'm here now in a different location in this beautiful field, and I'm actually making a photograph across the street of an apple tree that you can barely see in the frame there just across the street. I've made a few single image shots of it and a pano. I like it because you can have complete green in the background. So I'm enjoying making photographs of this apple tree. I only know it's an apple tree because there's dead apples hanging from it. I was really hoping this photograph was going to be absolutely, totally, and completely epic, and I ended up being really disappointed. I like it still, and you can see a bird on one of the lower branches, but I was hoping it was going to be a lot better than this. Okay, I'm here at the tree that I photographed now, and as you can see, it's definitely an apple tree. It's funny, there's no apples in low areas on the tree. There's no low-hanging fruit because the deer that wander all around this park have gotten all those. But up here, where you got to be 6'3", they're still there, but they're rotten. They're old and not good for eating anymore. Well, when we were in the field with the cannons and we saw those brain-looking fruits, there was no tree around, so somebody obviously carried them there. And we were driving around some more here in the park, and there was a bunch on the side of this road under some trees. I said, okay, we got to see what kind of tree makes that. So Heather, show us the... So we put it in the Googleator, and that's an Osage, O-S-A-G-E, orange. It's no relation to the fruit of the same name. And I got to reading about it. I thought, you know, we'll take one of these home and plant it and have one of these in our yard with these crazy oranges. And then I got to reading about the spikes that are on the tree. Now, I found the tree. That's it directly overhead there. But I didn't notice any spikes on it. But I got to reading the article about the spikes, and I decided to come and investigate. So let's take a look. So there's what the spikes look like on the branches. And the Googleator article says that they are tough enough to bust a tire. So we have decided not to plant one of those in our yard. But it was fun to learn about it today. We stopped at another area. This is kind of a small wooded area. There's roads all the way around it, but it's probably 2 acres worth of wooded area here in the middle. And I like it because occasionally they mow this grass. So it's nice to have the trees with some semi cared for grass below it. And they haven't mowed it in a long time. I mean, it's knee high in some spots. But I found a row of trees and made a few shots of the trees in here, and I have to wait till I get home to see if any of them come out. All right, well, here's another photograph that's kind of just okay, but stay tuned because the photographs that Heather got from pretty near this location turned out really great. While I was working back there, taking some photographs of some trees, Heather was over here in exactly the opposite direction. She was making photographs of the road here as it bends to the right. I don't know if she got that Canon in the shot or not, but I'm standing directly below another one of the Osage orange trees. They're all over the place in here. All right, without further ado, here are my 2 favorite of Heather's photographs of the day. Really like this Canon photograph, lots of beautiful colors in the background. I like the point of view of the Canon. Everything about this is really cool. And then this next shot is even better. She's got the 2 Canons and the monument. She's got great fall color. She's got leading lines from the road winding its way through the shot. Really, really cool photograph, and I believe I'm going to use this one for the thumbnail of this video. Well, Heather and I continued to drive around the park on lots and lots of roads, several that we've never been on before. I've lived, you know, within 30 minutes of this park my entire life, and we were going down some roads that I've never been down. And one of them was called Alexander Bridge Road, and I got to thinking, I bet there's a bridge on that road. So we drove on down the road, and eventually we came to this bridge, which I made. You can't really get to the other side. You can, but you're basically on the bridge or just not far past it. The road kind of curves around to the left. There is a pretty good place directly across. We believe this is West Chickamauga Creek, and there's a pretty good place on the far side, but there's all sorts of no trespassing signs. So I came back over here, and I've made a high dynamic range. I've made a pano. I don't know what's going to come out and what's not going to come out, but it's pretty cool that we found a creek and a bridge to photograph while we were exploring Chickamauga Battlefield. Okay, so this is kind of strange. This photograph is a single shot, and it's cropped in such a way that it looks like it might have been a panorama. It's got that 16:7 crop. And then this next shot is almost a 2:3 sort of a shot, and this is a 5-shot panorama. In order to get the entire bridge in, and I wanted to also get reflection from that spot, I needed to make a panorama. Okay, well, we've had a great adventure wandering around, driving around here at the Chickamauga Battlefield, making photographs here and there. It's been really fun. Hope we got some good ones that you enjoyed. And when we got back here to the visitor center, there was some coneflowers growing, some red ones. I made a couple of photos of those. As we learned at Epcot, the 55 to 200 Fujifilm lens makes really nice flower photographs, and it did again on this day. But now I think we're going to call it a day and go get some lunch. So thanks for watching, and if you like the content, give us a thumbs up. Want to see some more, subscribe and hit the bell, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.